They're not who you think they are. You've seen the badges, you've heard the conspiracies, you've watched the thrillers where one taps your phone and the other tracks your steps. But what if everything you thought about the CIA and FBI was only half the truth? One defends America at home, the other manipulates the world abroad. They're supposed to work together, but in reality, they've spied on each other, fought for power, and sometimes failed to stop disaster. Today, we reveal what separates them and what secret wars bind them together. This is CIA versus FBI. How do they compare? Shocking truths revealed. When they fail, we all pay the price. These aren't just government agencies. They are the backbone of American power, and sometimes its biggest threat. When they work well, they stop terror attacks, dismantle cartels, and keep nuclear threats at bay. But when they get it wrong, presidents fall, whistleblowers vanish, innocents die. You may never meet an agent, but believe us, they shape your world more than most politicians. Origins and missions. A tale of two empires. The FBI was born out of necessity, founded in 1908 to cross state lines and bring justice where local police couldn't. At first it was nameless, but under J. Edgar Hoover, it transformed into a domestic powerhouse, chasing mobsters, radicals, and eventually political dissenters. Hoover's FBI built secret files on Martin Luther King Jr., surveilled anti-war protesters, and infiltrated civil rights groups. It was the law, but not always just. Meanwhile, the CIA was born out of fear. After World War II and the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the U.S. realized it had zero coordination in foreign intelligence. So in 1947, Truman signed off on the CIA, giving America eyes and ears around the globe. But those eyes soon turned to intervention, propaganda, and secret wars. The CIA didn't just gather intel, it shaped reality. Powers, jurisdictions, and secret conflicts. At a glance, it's simple. The FBI is law enforcement. They investigate, arrest, and prosecute. The CIA is intelligence. They gather data, infiltrate, and influence. But in practice, it's messy. The FBI can't operate outside the U.S., but it works with foreign governments. The CIA can't operate inside the U.S., but it's documented that it has. Post 9/11, a major investigation revealed that the two failed to share vital info about Al-Qaeda, which might have prevented the attacks. Why? Because they compete for funding, for credit, for control. This isn't a buddy cop movie. It's a bureaucratic power struggle with lives on the line. So you want to join? Welcome to the gauntlet. Becoming an agent isn't like applying for a desk job. To join the FBI, you need a college degree, 3 years of work experience, top physical fitness, and a spotless background. Then comes Quantico, 20 weeks of firearms training, interrogation tactics, behavioral science, and federal law. Only a fraction make it through, and even fewer stay long enough to retire. The CIA isn't easier, it's just quieter. They want people who speak multiple languages, understand geopolitics, can lie convincingly, and keep a secret for life. Training lasts up to 2 years for covert roles. You live under aliases. You disappear from friends and family, and you may spend your entire career without ever being publicly acknowledged. Want a taste? You can intern at the CIA. No polygraph required. But if you move up, expect 18 months of shadow work before the real missions even begin. Real operations and scandals. They don't want you to know. Let's look beyond the resumes and into the shadows. FBI operations. COINTELPRO, 1956-1971. A secret program to infiltrate, discredit, and destroy political organizations, civil rights groups, socialists, anti-war movements. Waco Siege, 1993. A botched operation that led to 76 deaths, including children, during a standoff with a religious sect. Enron and white-collar crime. The FBI has led major corporate investigations, though critics argue it under-prioritizes financial fraud. CIA operations. 953. Iran coup. Helped overthrow the democratically elected Prime Minister Mossadegh, replacing him with a dictator loyal to U.S. interests. Bay of Pigs. 1961. A failed invasion of Cuba that embarrassed the U.S. on the world stage. Operation Chaos. monitored U.S. citizens during the Vietnam War, violating its legal restrictions. Iran-Contra scandal, secretly sold weapons to Iran and funded Nicaraguan rebels, all behind Congress's back. Both agencies have crossed ethical lines. The only difference? The FBI's mistakes end up in court. The CIA's? Sometimes they end up in history books, decades later. Pop culture, propaganda, and public perception. Ask the average person, what do FBI agents do? Thanks to Hollywood, most will say, they catch serial killers, like in Silence of the Lambs. Ask about the CIA, they're spies, like Jason Bourne or Jack Ryan. But the truth is, far more boring, and far more dangerous. The FBI is often portrayed as heroic, even when its history is filled with overreach. The CIA, by contrast, swings between patriot and villain, depending on who's writing the script. These portrayals serve a purpose. They influence how we view government power. They normalize surveillance. They glorify control. They hide abuse behind cinematic music and slick suits. It's not a coincidence. Sometimes these agencies consult on films. Sometimes they redact reality and hand Hollywood a script. The cost of power. Salaries, stress, and silence. Let's talk reality. FBI agents may be public figures, but their work is no less dangerous. They face hostage situations, drug lords, and domestic terrorism. Some are killed in the line of duty. Their names line the FBI Hall of Honor. They can speak to family, to a degree, but the stress takes a toll. One former agent said the worst part wasn't the violence. It was missing my daughter's birthday every single year. CIA officers, meanwhile, work in silence. No public funerals, no interviews, and sometimes, no acknowledgement they even existed. The money, FBI, $47K, $135K, CIA, $74K, $140K, but no one joins for money. They join for a purpose, a mission, or sometimes, a secret they can never share. Which side would you choose? So what's the verdict? If you had to choose between enforcing the law at home or influencing the world from the shadows, would you be a G-man or a ghost? Let us know in the comments below. Would you trust the FBI, fear the CIA, or is the truth somewhere in between? And don't forget, like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell for more deep dives. Next up, top 5 CIA coups they don't want you to know about. It's chilling, real, and 100% declassified. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay safe.